Advice for men in their 20s. So, in part 5 today, what we're going to focus on is mental health and diet. So, these are going to be two very important building blocks for you that if you establish them now in your 20s, you're going to be much more successful in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on. So, if you can focus on those two facets, you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of your peers, and it's going to set a good foundation for you and create a routine that will benefit you the rest of your life. So let's focus on mental health first, and some of the trappings I see with a lot of 20-year-olds that I work with or I'm around in society today, which is the first extreme is the ones that are kind of the cocky know-it-all, overconfident, no humility. And those are probably the worst. And I want you to be confident. I want you to have opinions, but I need those opinions to be based in fact, because it's almost impossible in your 20s to know a lot about the world because your brain is still developing. You're still getting your logic and reason. I read a report where they're saying that, you start to mature around 14 to 15 years old, but your logic and reason does not fully develop until about the age of 25. So about a 10-year window, you're kind of a loose cannon. You've got a lot of motivation to be a little wild, but there's not the part of your brain yet that's telling you to pump the brakes or to be a little cautious, So I think there's a good reason why, most people join the military at 18, and I'm not knocking it. I just think, besides being a good opportunity, the powers that be know is that you're going to probably go headfirst into danger without thinking about it. And that can be a good and a bad trait all at once. But I think there's a lot of logic to the fact that you're not fully developed yet, so you don't really understand risk versus reward. So, I would say that don't go to the extreme of being, so hard opinionated that you're going to turn people off. I know certainly the younger ladies, they're looking for stability. They just probably don't realize it as much yet. And I can confidently say that if you see that young gentleman that's always got a gal on his arm, but has that overconfidence and cockiness, he's probably with a woman that's not going to do him too good in the future. So you want to stay in the middle. Now, the other extreme that I see is a total lack of confidence and a lot of self-doubt. That's good to a certain extent with some humility, but not in an extreme. You're going to be your own biggest fan. You have to constantly build yourself up and tell yourself that you got this, you can do it, because what you're doing is putting undue stress on yourself. And if you tell the world that you're not worth anything, the world's going to see that and listen. So you need to have some confidence. I would tell my nephews all the time, in high school, one's in high school, one just finished. You want to be in the middle. You want to be friends with everybody because it's a safe place to be. You're not going to be overly liked by one crowd, and you're certainly not going to be disliked by all the crowds. So try to aim for that middle, and that's going to help you tremendously because you're in a point in your life where you're growing. You need to keep growing. You need to make mistakes. You need to learn about the world. I would say for your mental health, and you're on the best resource for it with YouTube, is seek out all sides of an opinion. If you're political, for example, right now we have two sides that are pretty much polar opposites of each other and not getting much of anything done, it seems like. Well, seek out both sides and then form your own opinion. You don't have to be spoon fed, world views to become worldly. You can seek out what you want, but try to seek out both sides and then form your own opinion, because what you're doing is you're exercising your brain. Find constructive things to do that will give you peace and quiet. For example, I always like to do puzzles or play guitar, certain things that were individualistic sports that helped me build confidence and also helped me mentally grow. I was in a profession, almond farming, and most farming is a very isolated endeavor. So I learned to talk to myself. I learned to reason. I learned how to fight emotions, good and bad. You need to have that quiet time. Mental health also is heavily dependent on your sleep schedule. So try to get you a normal sleep schedule, build a routine that you can follow that works for you. Don't go out to all hours of the night because you're just going to wake up grouchy and grumpy. This is a time for you to accomplish things and be disciplined. So that's going to help your mental health as well. Don't listen to all the noise. You have to take care of yourself first. Don't get you wrapped up in other people's opinions. Don't go fighting their wars for them, because there's no sense in it. You can be a good friend, you can be a good family member, but you have to be a good person to yourself first in order to be successful. So as much as others might need your help, offer only what you can give, but always take care of yourself first. And that's going to take your mental health a lot further. So don't overwhelm yourself with other people's stuff, because it's their stuff. Don't rob them of the opportunity to grow and learn and make mistakes. You need to make them for yourself. So the other facet of this is diet as well. And what I see the mistake being making all too often is convenience and, that instant gratification. I would say the best thing that you can do is try to cut down on the restaurants, on the fast food. Not only are you going to save money, but you're going to be controlling what goes into your body. The dirty little secret about a restaurant or any fast food place is they're just giving you enough quality to keep you coming back, and what makes them a profit. So you're not getting the best quality food. You're just getting what makes them a profit and keeps you coming back for more. And I know it's convenient. I know you think it's cheaper. It might be just a wash in the money, but you're also going to get the satisfaction if you cook at home by accomplishing something, by learning a skill, by providing for yourself, by eventually maybe providing for your significant other, your family. I can tell you that a lot of women would be very impressed with you if you could make a good meal, have that routine, and be disciplined. So control what goes into your body. The sodas all the time, you're just throwing your money away. I'll give you, have maybe one a day, but don't drink a 6-pack a day. You're going to save money, and all that sugar is not good for you. You need to be disciplined and a little bit strict with yourself, because you're going to save so much money. And the more effort you put in right now to a healthy diet is only going to benefit you in the future tenfold. We age. I seen a video where basically the human body is just kind of cooking itself over time. The more sugar, the more negative things you put in your body, the salts, the carbs, all of that, is just speeding up that process, and you're going to save, in health costs in the future, because your body will start to break down. I know in my 40s, I get a lot more pains than I did in my 20s, and that's natural. But if you just try to be strict and disciplined, you're going to experience that later in life. You're going to have more opportunity to build, to grow, to enjoy life later in life, and sacrifice a little bit more now. So try to get yourself out of those habits of trusting other people with what you eat. You know, you go into a grocery store, stay on the outsides, you know, the meats, the dairy, for example, you know, within control, the fruits, vegetables. Those are all areas that are going to be much healthier for you than the middle aisles. The middle aisles are typically the real good stuff, but it's all ultra processed or frozen or things that have been really kind of man-made or altered by man, and we're trying to be natural. The more natural you can be, the better off you will be, because diet, gut health, all of this is going to affect your mental health. So the two really go hand in hand. And why I'm telling you this is just for the very obvious reason is that your body needs fuel, but it needs good fuel. You know, to put it in terms, if you have a car that takes, you know, high octane, you know, gasoline, what do you think is going to happen when you put diesel into it? It's not going to run right. That's an obvious. So your body, especially in your 20s, you need that high octane fuel. You have a lot of energy. You have a lot of things to contribute, and we need you to contribute those things. So don't put the wrong type of fuel in it. It's really that simple. So strategize. Look into healthier options. You can get much more out of them. If you have a big appetite, you can eat a lot more fruit and vegetables without it affecting you. It's going to be easier on your body. You're going to be more productive. It's just going to have so many benefits for you that will pay off tenfold. So I think that about covers it. Please, as always, you know, reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. You can contact me directly, bordinsbrain@gmail.com. I hope you're taking care of yourself. If not, you need to start right now. In part 6, we'll talk about relationships with women, with family, with yourself, really. So that's what we'll cover in part 6. And beyond that, I just hope you're enjoying these videos. Please like, subscribe, comment if you care to. I'd love to get any feedback, see if these are helping you at all. And I hope this video finds you well. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye now.